Assalamu alaikum, students at Jakarta Islamic School. My name is Mr. Aren and I'm here to help you with your English today. Now, what I want to talk to you about is actually something that's been in the news, been on social media a lot lately, and that would be about the environment. Here in Indonesia, I know that the government are trying to put in new precautions to help save the environment and to help reduce the amount of pollution here in Indonesia. So what I want to talk to you about today is just some of the vocabulary that you might hear, you might read, you might see on social media, on the news, maybe in your tests in the future for maybe IELTS or TOEFL or even your general exams at the end of this year. So I want to go through some of the vocabulary, some of the ways that we can use this vocabulary, and just ways to use it in general conversation here. So let's get started. So some of the things you might have heard in the news would be words such as global warming, climate change, or carbon footprint. These are some of the things that I want to help describe to you today, and many, many more. So you guys may have heard in the news about Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg was a activist from Sweden. She's a 16-year-old girl that's talking about how we can help the environment. You may have heard her on the news, or maybe read about her on social media. Some of the vocabulary that she uses, I want to go through that today with you, as well as other things that you may have heard or seen. So in English, when we talk about the environment, we're talking about the world, the globe, and how nature is changing due to us as humans, what we are doing as humans to change the environment. So environment is the globe, the world, nature, and how we are changing it. So the word environment, that is a noun, and there are actually two adjectives that we also use in conjunction with the word environment. So I want to talk to you about those first. So the two adjectives. The first one is environmental. Environmental, we usually talk about like environmental issues or environmental change. Environmental, that is an adjective that connects to the word environment. Environmental issues are talking about the problems that we are causing to the environment. Environmental issues. So yeah, issues means problems. So another adjective that we use to connect to environment would be environmentally. So whether something is environmentally friendly, something that helps the environment. So that's another adjective that connects to the word environment. So another noun that connects to the word environment would be environmentalist. An environmentalist is someone that is trying to help the environment. So someone that is an environmentalist, like I said before with Greta Thunberg, she is an environmentalist. She is someone that is trying to improve the way that we are in the world right now, to improve the environment that we live in. So one of the biggest environmental issues, environmental problems that we experience today is pollution. So pollution is something that is talked about a lot in the media today, in Jakarta, in the rest of the world. Pollution is the quality of the air, what we are doing to the air. So this is causing a lot of environmental issues. It's basically all of the waste, the trash or the rubbish that we use being sucked up into the environment and creating pollution. Pollution could be pollution in the water, air pollution. It's basically making something that's good turn bad. It's as simple as that. One of the major things that is connected to pollution is air pollution, and we call that smog. So smog is very similar to fog, where it's cloudy, you can't see anything. It's misty fog. They're the same thing. But smog is where it's like a gray cloud. It makes us hard to breathe. So smog is caused by pollution. Another issue that we have with the environment, another problem right now, is deforestation. Now, you may have heard of this before. Deforestation means where people are chopping down large forests, chopping down all of the trees. Another way that we can describe this would be using another word, clear cutting. So clear cutting is often used for when people cut down, like I said, large forests. They completely clear the forests. Another environmental issue that we have, another problem that we have, is acid rain. So this is something you may have read about or seen. So what acid rain is when the air pollution, gets sucked up into the water cycle and creates chemicals like carbon dioxide and acid. And what acid rain does is it corrodes. Corrodes means like damages. Damages like cars, maybe buildings, things like that. Acid rain is something that corrodes the things when it rains on top of it. Another huge issue we have is something called climate change. Now, you may have heard this a lot. It comes up a lot on, especially in the news, and other political figures talking about, they actually mention the word climate change. Now, climate change is where the world is changing. In some places, it is colder than it should be. In other places, it is hotter than it should be. And what that is doing is it's changing the environment, it's changing the climate. So that is also very bad for the environment, because obviously animals and farms and things like that, they are not creating the things that they should. They are not doing the things that they should be doing because of the climate and how it is changing. So normally what happens is the weather is becoming hotter and hotter, and that is called global warming. So again, this is a word that you would hear a lot on the news or in social media. Global warming. So global warming is where the world is heating up. So the ice caps are melting, the sea level is rising. That is caused by global warming. So global warming is the thing that is causing most of the natural habitats to be depleted. Depleted means to disappear. So making most of the natural habitats to disappear, and affecting us also as humans. It is also what creates most of the natural disasters that we see on the news today. For example, the forest fires that happened in Australia at the beginning of the year. And here in Jakarta at the beginning of the year, we also had the flooding. Now that is caused by global warming. So previously you heard me talk about habitat. So a habitat is where something lives or where a person lives. Our habitat is our home. And when we think about animals, their habitat might be in the ocean or in the forests that are being, like I said, deforestation before they're being chopped down. So scientists are telling us that global warming is being caused by toxic gases, so poisonous gases in the air. So these toxic gases are often referred to as greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are the toxic gases that are being released into the environment. And one of the main greenhouse gases that you'll hear about is carbon dioxide. Now this gas, carbon dioxide, is what is, it's actually caused by us burning fossil fuels. So I'm sure you've heard of fossil fuels before. Fossil fuels are things like oil, like natural things that we have, oils, gases, things like that. that we are burning, and it is creating pollution in the environment. So as I mentioned, carbon dioxide is one of the main gases that create the global warming. So linked with that, we also use an expression called the carbon footprint. So you guys know what a footprint is. It's where, for example, if you're walking on the beach and you look behind you, you are leaving a footprint. So your carbon footprint is when it's the footprint you are leaving behind when you're using things such as your car or an aeroplane. It's the amount of carbon you are leaving behind you in what you are doing. So like I said before with Greta Thunberg, she actually refuses to use an aeroplane to travel. She would rather use the train or other modes of transport to reduce her carbon footprint. So one way to reduce your carbon footprint, like I said, it's your footprint left behind. It's your personal contribution to what global warming is today. So what many people are doing now, especially here in Jakarta, you've probably seen it and you probably take part in it yourself, would be like cycling or walking. Here in Jakarta we have a car-free day where you don't have any cars out on the road or any vehicles. So the ways that you can reduce your carbon footprint would be cycling, walking instead of driving in your car or riding on a motorcycle. So we call this reducing our carbon footprint. We say reducing our emissions. Emissions are, like I said, the gases and stuff we are using, and reducing is to make something less. So to reduce our emissions, that is what we are doing by cycling, by walking instead of using our cars or motorcycles. Another way that people are trying to reduce their emissions is by using something called renewable energy. So instead of burning fossil fuels, like I said before, by burning oil, coal, things like that, they are using renewable energy. That is energy that we can use again. So maybe using solar panels or wind panels, so using the sun or the wind to help power things. Many companies now, instead of burning fossil fuels to run their factories, they are actually using like wind turbines and solar panels. So like I said, using the wind or the sun. Solar means sun, and obviously wind means wind. So I want to talk to you about why we see it on the news or in the media so much nowadays. And that is because the government is trying to reduce everybody's carbon footprint. And the reason they're doing that is because your carbon footprint affects or impacts the future of the world. In fact, it affects nature, it affects the habitat, and reduces our carbon footprint, also reducing in global warming. So many animals that we are affecting have actually become endangered. So endangered means that their population is getting less. So an animal that is endangered, maybe tigers or rhinos and things like that, it's also caused by poaching, of course, but many, like we said before, like with the deforestation, many of their natural habitats are being destroyed by us, by pollution and by deforestation. So they are becoming endangered. Endangered means less, like getting less. So it means they are in danger. Endanger means in danger of becoming extinct. Now, extinct means that they are no longer here. There are lots of animals that have become extinct. Maybe the dodo, which was a bird that has now become extinct. Many animals are endangered and they are becoming extinct due to pollution. So To stop these animals becoming extinct or endangered, we need to care more about the environment, which is why you are seeing this so much on the news today. They don't want us as humans to become extinct. In Western countries, and I think here in Indonesia too, we have something called the 3 Rs. So I want to talk to you about the 3 Rs next. So the 3 Rs are reduce, reuse, and recycle. So like we said before, reduce means to use less of, or to use less of. So use less plastic bottles, use less plastic bags, reduce the amount of carbon that we are using. So reduce, so instead of using cars or motorcycles, walking, cycling, things like that. To reuse. So with the government now, very recently they have banned plastic bags, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to make us use something called a tote bag, which is like a material bag. So a reusable bag, or using a tumbler instead of a plastic bottle. And obviously the last one is to recycle. So to recycle the things that we can't reuse, so the plastics and things like that. Obviously we're trying to reduce that, but if we cannot, we recycle. Recycle means use again. So these are just some of the vocabulary that you see in the news and on the media today. And I hope that my explanation of this vocabulary helps you to understand the things that are going on in the world and why we are doing them. So that's all we have time for today, and I hope I helped you guys out a lot. So thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Thanks guys, goodbye.